Manchester United and Cristiano Ronaldo might have parted ways, but the impact that the Portuguese superstar has had on the club is still being felt, and there are things that are now being done at the club pertaining, or at least supposedly pertaining, to his superstar status. Now, doubtless you'll be wondering what exactly that is the case. So, hello everyone and welcome back to Sports Today. My name is Shane Reyes and I'm joined by our resident United fan, Harshad Ahuja. So, Harshad, why don't you fill us in on what exactly it is that United are trying to do now?
Well, what United are trying to do here is, of course, and I must first begin by saying that, Manchester United are a club in transition. Sure. And the man that you see on the screen here, Erik ten Hag, has been really ruling the roost, I would say in many ways, because of not just the way he handled the whole Cristiano Ronaldo situation and the whole fallout, and with the maturity with which he handled the whole situation. I would also say that he is trying to begin a sort of a system which gets followed. He's trying to lay a new system in place.
Sure.
And one of the things that he's now gone ahead, despite making what he's already done is he's brought about these changes as far as disciplinary norms are concerned, because we saw Rashford not getting picked the other day,
right,
because he overslept and he was late for a team meeting. So he's determined a lot of things. He's trying to bring about a cultural change at the club. He's also set norms and he's expecting his players to adhere to those norms, conform to those norms, as he tries to rebuild Manchester United and build a team around this young group of players. Now, going forward, is one of the things that you've seen with Manchester United off late is, yes, there is silverware that has eluded them for quite a few years now. And as a result, we've seen Manchester United spend a lot of money, attract players like not just Ronaldo, but Casemiro as well. You offer them bumper salaries that not every club in Premier League, or rather Europe, can in fact, match up to. Yeah. And you're able to get good talent, but you've got to pay a premium for that as well. Yes, one could argue that things have worked in a way, yes, because you've been able to get players, but at the same time, the counter side is Manchester United haven't been able to get those results from those players as well. You had Falco also at one point. You had so many of these superstars who came to Manchester United for all the money that United offered. But now Erik ten Hag, the man in charge, has said, and in many media reports, it's now be called the Ronaldo rule. Correct. It's not officially called the Ronaldo rule, though, I must clarify here. But what this essentially means is now Manchester United will not be offering wages more than £200,000 a week, and that's been made very clear that no matter who the player is, United are not crossing that particular cap, because, well, they say that this is one of the ways to establish some sort of an equality in that dressing room, and that's what Erik ten Hag is trying to do here.
Yeah, in fact, to add to your point, I mean, I remember reading that you have someone like David De Gea, who is currently reportedly making about £375,000 a week. So his contract is up at the end of this year. Yes. And to be fair, there are reports doing the rounds now that he's accepted a pay cut to actually come down to that level.
In fact, all of those players who are drawing more than £200,000 a week at the moment, their deals their contracts will be revisited and new contracts will be offered. Yes, we'll have to wait and see if all of those players are okay with that. We saw something at Barcelona as well, because they were a club that had some financial trouble over the last 10 to 12 months. Not all the players were okay with that. We'll have to wait and see how this sort of plays out for Manchester United. But Shane and I are here to talk about whether Premier League clubs could also be looking at something like this in terms of introducing wage caps and reducing the wage difference between the players, because Shane, let's be very clear about this, it does play a role in the dressing room and among the players. There's no doubt about that.
Absolutely. But I must say it's a good rule that Ten Hag is putting in place, because again, with United, you've seen a lot of too many cases of the inmates running the asylum rather than it being the other way around. So more often than not, player power was a very real thing, and you had to break up that central player power. And I'm not saying all player power is bad, but if the dressing room is ruled by the riches or who can make more money, then you're not getting a United football team. But no pun intended, by the way. Yeah. But that being said, our team is going to follow suit. Maybe not, but you have to remember one thing with football right now.
How do you welcome this?
No, I think it's great. The only problem is, can it then be a hindrance later on if you have that, like, remember, Liverpool also have a similar thing. They had to smash their own wage structure to give Mohamed Salah a new deal.
Yes, because Mo Salah wasn't fitting in the previous wage regime that they had.
Correct. And they had that very strict salary cap in place, which is of course placed on internally, of course. But football in general has never had the system of a salary cap. Of course, and either way, not a coincidence that the owners of both United and Liverpool are American, where in all American leagues, because they have closed leagues, you end up having a salary cap in place.
But talking about the American League, there is an interesting thing over there that every club can offer 3 players, if I'm not wrong.
Yes.
They can offer 3 players salaries that don't meet the cap. So there's only 3 players for which you can make exceptions. But that also, if you go ahead with that, then that sort of negates the whole point of having such a rule in place. If you're giving 3 players, if you're making an exception for 3 players, then the others could be like, okay, now over the last couple of years, I've also improved my numbers, my game, etc. I want that kind of salary now. But again, if you want to go ahead with something like this, you've got to say this is it. We are not making any exceptions. Yes, there will be a huge downside to it. For everything said and done, that it helps in dressing room psychology and whatnot. It helps so much on the managerial level and financial level as well, because for a club like Manchester United, if you're bringing the wages down to 200,000 a week, you are massively reducing your wage bill.
And United right now, if I'm not wrong, have the highest wage bill in the Premier League.
Absolutely. There are, let's not forget, just about a year back, you were paying close to 350,000 a week to somebody like a Paul Pogba as well. To Cristiano
to
Ronaldo. David De Gea, as Shane pointed out earlier, is drawing a huge salary. Casemiro, in fact, is also drawing a number close to 350,000 a week. Now, this obviously has 2 sides to it. One, of course, will players be reacting positively to it? I have a feeling that superstars will probably have a problem with this, because once you're used to drawing that kind of money, you're not willing to take a 30-40% wage cut. Also, like, let's say, given how Manchester United are performing off late, well, you really see no reason why you should be taking that huge a wage cut to be able to see yourself playing at Manchester United, which are a club in transition. But having said that, just want to add that the only time and place where such a rule can really be effective is for clubs in transition, and that's Manchester United right now. You could also look at other clubs as well who are in a phase of transition, who can possibly think of adopting such a philosophy.
Correct.
But I don't think at large Premier League clubs or European clubs would really be very impressed with this, or would be thinking a lot about it, because that's not how it's going to work. But if, let's say, you've got a strong mind and a strong head like Erik ten Hag, who has the board's support, then you can possibly be laying out a statement, because Erik ten Hag, not the first time that he's put out a statement, he comes across as that strong character who has certain rules. So for clubs in transition, yes, maybe you can come up with this. Of course, you've got the fair play rules and whatnot, but that don't really pertain to salary. Salaries are generally looked at. They're a club policy, and every club has the freedom to offer whatever salaries that they possibly can.
And that precisely why I feel that this, while on the other hand is good or at least decent as a short-term measure, in the long term it's not sustainable until there is a directive that comes in, say, from FIFA, that okay, you're this league and you have to have this much of a salary cap. It's a given. That is legitimately the only way. There has to be some sort of an oversight where you decide that okay, all of the game stakeholders say, look, we don't want to be paying more than necessary, and we'll agree to this salary cap and we'll all adhere to it. Can that happen in a sport like football? Can it happen in a sport where you recently had Ronaldo sign for Al Nassr for crazy money? And they're not playing by anyone's rules. I don't think Al Nassr care if they turn a profit or not. It's from club. In fact, that's a signing that was funded by the state, which in itself is backed by oil money. So they don't care about profits and losses in that sense. Even if you look at, we were talking about Barcelona, who have that thing. It's led them to a lot of issues, because the main reason they are actually clamping down on salaries now is because they were overpaying salaries in the first place.
Yes.
Every single player would be getting bumper rises.
Look at the kind of money that Messi was also making.
Every
the only reason they could afford Messi was because of their own doing.
Exactly.
They realized too late that okay, they had been, I wouldn't say overpaying Messi, but they were
overpaying everyone.
They were overpaying way more than they could have afforded.
Exactly.
From that perspective, they were overpaying. Nobody is to deny that Leo Messi doesn't deserve a 600,000 a week salary or whatever
but
it
they
may
didn't
be.
Have the money to pay.
But they didn't have the money. So of course, Premier League clubs and European clubs, so to say, have been digging their own hole in many ways in terms of creating their own problems, drawing players, attracting them with huge amounts of money. But can this be changed? If I was to just put you in the spot there, let's say Chelsea, who are also a club in transition, a club in crisis, as you were saying the other day. If Chelsea are to also, turn things around, can they move around such a philosophy?
No, I don't think they can, for the simple reason that Chelsea don't quite have the historical significance that a United or a Barcelona or a Bayern or a Real Madrid have. These are clubs that are historically relevant. Chelsea were a club that were transformed in the early 2000s. Now, of course, yes, they have a standing, and that's not to say players won't want to join.
So, interestingly, Shane, in that case, for clubs that have seen late resurgence, let's say, and are doing well right now, difficult for them to adopt any such strategy
look at City.
City can't do it.
Not a chance.
Just when you talk about Chelsea, yes, of course, City I think should be mentioned in the same breath.
Absolutely.
PSG has to be mentioned in the same breath. All in all, then would you say that this is something that's actually not going to work in the bigger or the grander scheme of things?
Now it may be something that Chelsea look to adopt in the coming years. Why? Because again, American ownership.
Yes.
They are not looking to pay crazy money. In fact, if you look at, I know Chelsea fans will be frustrated at the lack of transfer market movement, but they have been younger players coming in. No, because you want to improve the first team. None of these players are making it to the first team, but all of these players are young players, lots of upside in getting long-term contracts. So the thinking of the board right now and of the ownership is long-term. You want younger players to commit their future for a longer time. Reece James, when he was extended, was given a 7-year deal. Wesley Fofana, when he was signed, got a 7-year deal. This Benoit Badiashile, 7-year deal. We have 7-year deals in football. It's as smooth as 5. But they're doing 7-year deals because they're like, no, we want to give these guys long-term security. We want to tie them down for longer. And then, obviously, if you need to rework the contract, so be it. But right now, we want a 7-year deal because we don't want anyone sniffing around our talent. But with American ownership now, yes. Because they're not going to be sinking money in forever. It's not like the Roman Abramovich days where you could be throwing crazy money around. In fact, to be fair, even under Roman in later years, the club were very much trying to become sustainable. He was investing less and less money as time went on because he told the club, look, you guys have had success. Start figuring out ways to make the club make you money, which is why sponsorship deals and all these things come into place. But coming back to the wage topic, will there really be any club or any club, say United are doing it now because they feel there's too much of an issue. They've gone too far on the other end. So they need to come back to a median, and to do that, you have to adopt another extreme measure. How many clubs will willfully say, oh, okay? Because again, see, you have to remember one thing. In American leagues, the main reason why they can keep salary caps and keep is because it's a closed league. You note for a fact if the NBA has 20 teams, then unless someone is buying a new franchise or there's a tender put out to a new franchise, there's no promotion and relegation. So you know that you can actually have the worst season ever. It doesn't really matter. You're still in the NBA. And in fact, if you have the worst season ever, then you get to pick the first draft pick from the college players next year. So there are benefits. And truth be told, it's very capitalistic, but it works for them. Is it going to work in Europe where the mindset, the psyche is very A, anti-American sport, and B, the idea of sporting meritocracy and promotion relegation has been ingrained for centuries? I doubt. I really doubt, because again, the club would rather say that, look, I'd rather overspend and stay in the Premier League on our overspend wages.
How do you, because what I chiefly like about this whole development is the fact that yes, it brings in certain amount of equality in the dressing room, and that I feel, there. Obviously, we've seen reports over the years that yes, certain players who draw certain kind of money are often seen chilling together, or often seen having a coterie of their own, vis-a-vis the players who don't draw that kind of money.
Correct.
So, how do you then, look at establishing some sort of an equality inside the dressing room if, let's say, clubs cannot go ahead and have such a policy?
See, that's a tough question. It's a very tough question to answer. I think there's no easy answer to that question. And truth be told, again, as I say, there's nothing wrong in what United are doing. It's just, do I think other clubs will follow suit? Maybe, maybe not. Do I see the sport going that way? No. Not unless someone with a really firm thing says that, look, no, we have to ensure that clubs aren't going out of business. So for that, a salary cap is necessary. But again, the salary cap problem is that just being in the Premier League alone is so lucrative. Would a club not want to overspend in wages, take the risk and stay in the Premier League rather than then try getting promoted up again?
No club would be willing to take that. That's one. But yeah, it is complex. It is a decision that many boards will have to think what direction. It all depends on where the club wants to go and where the manager wants to. There could be all sorts of managers. There's a Jose Mourinho who doesn't really care about the win. There's a Pep Guardiola these are characters. These are coaches in the world of football who've not really cared much about the money. They're more about, okay, you give me these ingredients, I'm going to give you the best recipe, but I need these ingredients come what may. Erik Ten Hag is taking a different approach here altogether. Yes, he was also very insistent on this man here, who Manchester United were tracking all through the transfer window, only to, as many would say, end up overspending for him right towards the end. Exactly. But having said that, if this is the way that Erik Ten Hag and Manchester United want to go forward, it is not compulsory, or it's not very inspiring, I would say, for other Premier League clubs. Perhaps for the very reason that, as Shane said, it is a very difficult league anyway to survive, and second of all, not every club operates a way a Manchester United is operating right now. So this so-called Ronaldo rule, well, it is interesting in times that Manchester United finds themselves in, but will the clubs really be very, will they be looking forward to something like this?
No.
We'll have to wait and watch. But what you guys can do is let us know in the comment section what you have to feel about the so-called Ronaldo rule. Do you think it goes well for Manchester United? And on the other side, how do you think will the other clubs be reacting to it? Let us know in the comment section. For now, that's Shane Dias, myself Harshit Ahuja. Thank you so much for watching this video. In case you liked it, do share it with your friends and family members, and like, share and subscribe to Sports Today for more such interesting discussions. Thank you so much.